Never Split the Difference by Voss. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you've left something crucial on the table? Like you almost got what you wanted, but not quite? What if the secret to getting more in every aspect of your life, from your salary to your kids' bedtime, isn't about being tougher, but about being profoundly human? Voss, a former FBI hostage negotiator, reveals this surprising truth in Never Split the Difference, a book that will rewire how you communicate forever. Imagine this: a bank alarm blares. Hostages are terrified. A man with a gun is making demands, irrational and dangerous. Your job? To talk him down, to find a path to a peaceful resolution where everyone walks out alive. This wasn't a movie scene. This was Voss's daily reality. For years, he stood on the front lines of high-stakes negotiations where a single wrong word could mean the difference between life and death. And what he discovered in those pressure cooker situations is that almost everything we've been taught about negotiation is wrong. We're told to be rational, to compromise, to meet in the middle. But what if meeting in the middle is the worst thing you can do? What if it leaves both sides feeling cheated rather than truly satisfied? Voss argues that the most effective negotiators don't split the difference. They understand the emotional undercurrents that drive every human interaction. They dive deep into the other person's world, not to manipulate, but to truly understand. One of the first and most powerful tools Voss introduces is something he calls tactical empathy. It sounds simple, right? Empathy. But this isn't about being nice or agreeable. It's about deliberately putting yourself in the other person's shoes, not to agree with them, but to understand their worldview, their fears, their desires. It's about listening, not to reply, but to truly comprehend. He tells a story about a negotiation where a criminal was demanding a specific, seemingly irrational item. Instead of dismissing it, Voss and his team used tactical empathy. They mirrored his words, summarized his feelings, and labeled his emotions. It sounds like you're feeling desperate, like you believe this is your only option. This isn't agreement, it's an acknowledgement. And in that acknowledgement, something shifts. The other person feels heard, respected, and often their defenses begin to lower. Consider the simple act of mirroring. This is perhaps the easiest, yet most impactful technique you can learn. Someone says, "I can't afford that price." Instead of launching into a defense of your pricing, you simply repeat the last 1 to 3 words. Can't afford that price? It sounds strange, but when you repeat their key words, you trigger their brain to elaborate. They feel you are truly listening, and this nearly always leads to a deeper answer. Instead of a simple no, you often get, "Can't afford that price, because our budget was slashed this year, and I'm responsible for this department." Suddenly, you have crucial information that completely changes the path of the negotiation. But Voss doesn't stop there. He says all successful negotiations eventually revolve around saying no. No isn't just a rejection, it's often a start. People feel safer and more in control when they can say no. So, a skillful negotiator actively seeks to hear no. For example, send an email that ends with, "Is it a bad time for you to talk about this?" The goal is to let the other party set their boundary. This sense of autonomy reduces their defensiveness against you. Then we come to the most critical questions, calibrated questions. These are questions that start with the words how and what. How can I make this cheaper for you? Or, what about this option makes it the best fit for you? These types of questions shift the power from you to them to find the solution. They force the other side to consider your challenges and find a way to overcome them. Voss says, superior negotiators get people to solve their own problems. It's much more effective than simply forcing your solutions onto them. But how do you know you're winning? How do you know an agreement is truly locked in? This is where the accusations audit comes in. Before shaking hands, you need to make sure the other party is truly satisfied with what they've accepted and isn't holding anything back. Voss always starts by previewing the negative. He anticipates the worst things the other person might be thinking about him and says them out loud. It seems like you think I'm greedy, that I'm trying to trick you. By verbalizing these negative accusations, you neutralize their corrosive effect. And the final climax. When you think everything is settled, you use an effective summary. You clearly summarize all the feelings and desires the other party has expressed, and then end with, "That's right." The goal is to hear the magic words, "That's right," not just "yes." When someone says, "That's right," they feel their very heart and soul have been understood, and that is the signal of true surrender and commitment to the deal. That is the moment you know the conversation is over, and you've reached a stable outcome. Ultimately, the lesson Chris Voss learned from the toughest, darkest hostage negotiations was this: negotiation isn't about getting what you want. It's about building a relationship where the other party feels free to give it to you. Never split the difference. Instead, understand so well that you get 90% or 100% of what you truly need. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, tap the bell, and join the Booksbox family as we explore powerful ideas, one book at a time. Catch even more great ideas on our podcast. The link's in the description. Until next time, keep reading and growing.